All right, let us start our next session. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Loke. I'm an associate professor at Hong Kong Baptist University in the Department of Religion and Philosophy, where one of my research areas is in science and religion, and I have written a number of books about that, including one on the Resurrection of Jesus, published by Routledge, which is available for free download. So if you're interested, you can go to my website and download my book for free. So that's a free gift for you for attending this conference. And I also want to briefly introduce the Society for the Study of Science and Religion in Asia, right? Which myself, Mike, and a few of others professors around Hong Kong are involved. And this is the first time we are organizing a conference. I mean, this is in partnership with other, with HKU and HKBU and other organizations. And so you are seeing now this website, right? SSRA, Society for Science and Religion in Asia. And if you are interested, right, in this kind of events, discussions, conference on science and religion, you want to keep in touch with us, please do go to the website and subscribe, right? You can leave a contact there and be our member, right? Again, it's free, right? Membership is free. So please get in touch with us and stay connected. All right, so for today, one of our members and also a PhD student at our department, Mr. Vincent Chan, is going to speak to us for about on 10 minutes, right? And he's going to give us a talk. And so let me just briefly introduce him. He has a bachelor degree in actuarial science from Texas University, and before coming back to Hong Kong, where he spent a number of years as a pastor, and then also received his MDiv from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And so now he's doing his PhD in the area of science and religion at Hong Kong Baptist University. So today he's going to share with us his research. So let me hand over the time to Vincent. Yeah, let's give him welcome.
Hello, thank you, everyone. Very happy to be here. Let me share my screen real quick. Thank you. Can everyone see my PowerPoint slide?
Yes.
Awesome. So we can actually go ahead and start. So first of all, I want to thank you everyone for attending this conference. I hope that you have been enjoying it so far. My name is Vincent. So today I'm going to focus my talk on examining the possible insufficiency of the principle of non-overlapping Magisteria, which is also known as NOMA. It's commonly agreed that there are 4 different types of methodology or models to describe the relationship of science and religion. They are the conflict model, the independent model, the dialogue model, and also the integration model. If you look at the background pictures of this slide, that I would probably say that they are the representation of some of the models that I just mentioned in helping us to think about how we human beings may relate it to the world from different aspects. But what is NOMA? NOMA is a set of principles suggested by American paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould under the umbrella of independent model. So in his book, Walk of Ages, he described the following: that science tries to document the factual characters of the natural world and to develop theories that coordinate and explain this fact. Religion, on the other hand, operates in the equally important but utterly different realm of human purpose, meanings, and values, subjects that the factual domains of science may illuminate but can never resolve. And he also continued to explain that each domain of inquiries, they have their own set of rules, criteria, and judgment, so that they're independent from each other and that they're also isolated from each other. This is to say that what NOMA is proposing is that the inquiries that we encounter every single day in our daily life are actually two types of inquiries. They are the factual inquiries and also the ethical inquiries. According to explanation of Gould, that the factual inquiries belongs to the expertise of science and the ethical inquiries belong to expertise of religion. And there's also an underneath assumption that that science itself is comprehensive enough to answer all the factual inquiries, and religion itself is comprehensive enough to answer all the ethical inquiries. So what NOMA is proposing that as long as religion does not attempt to answer any factual inquiries, and also the other way around, if science does not attempt to answer any ethical inquiries, then there will be no interaction between them, and there will be no conflict, and there will be peace. But the question that I would encourage us to ask is that, is such peace being consistent and authentic after all? And my simple answer to this is no, because I do not think that NOMA can work out in principle. And here's the reason. Number one, it's impossible to systematically categorize various inquiries into the two domains. We can look at this example that we can actually find in his book, Stephen Jay Gould, his book. In his book, he actually say that when we reject the siren song of false sources, we become free to seek solutions to questions of morals and meanings in the proper place within ourselves. When we actually look at the subject of morality, I guess many of us that we have the natural inclination to put this into the ethical domains. But in here that what Stephen Gould is actually saying is that, hold on for a minute, we may not necessarily need to use the standard and the judgment from the ethical inquiries in order to answer anything related to moralities. Maybe we can use fact to do so. What does this actually tell us is that there's no objective standard to comprehensively and also fairly allocate inquiries into the two domains. It all depends on the user. It all depends on the user's subjective feelings, impression, understanding of what inquiry to be put in where. So number one that we have to keep in mind, the first reason is that there's no objective standard to allocate the inquiries. But the second reason, which is related to this, is that NOMA is incapable to resolve all the conflicts. I want to bring to you a paradox that we all love, and it's actually one of my favorite paradoxes when I was little. It's the chicken or egg problem. I think many of us that are familiar with the paradox, and I remember there was a primary school student that I often ask people this question because, whatever answer that you give, you can always argue against each other, and then you can call each other stupid. But, let's suppose that there's an objective standard for now. There's an objective standard that we are able to classify all the questions into the different domains. And suppose that there are 10,000 questions about the egg or the chicken. And now that we are able to systematically categorize into the factual inquiries or the ethical inquiries, and suppose that there's another person come up that is intelligent enough to answer all these 10,000 questions without any mistake. But the situation is, after he answers all these questions, he will probably find himself that he is not able to answer the original question of this paradox, which came first. This because that what I would call this question, this original question, is the ultimate question that beyond the factual inquiries and also the ethical inquiries, which I would propose that there's another domain of inquiries, which I would call the ultimate inquiries. So what Stephen Jay Gould was proposing from NOMA is that if religion does not intervene into the factual inquiries, or if science does not intervene into the ethical inquiries, there will be no conflict. I do not doubt that that can be a possible situation where conflict happens. But the other situation that where conflict actually takes place is that when both sides try to answer these ultimate inquiries, we can actually imagine that there are two countries and there's a new piece of land, and both countries are trying to conquer this new piece of land. That's where the conflict happens. So this is what to say that the conflict does not only happen when they interact, but when they also expand their territories. That's where also the conflict will happen. So even if NOMA can reduce part of the conflict, it cannot reduce all the conflicts. Now, my third reason is that science cannot provide full explanation to all the factual inquiries. Let's look at this picture. It's a picture of thunderstorm. So we can see lighting, we can see a lot of things, we can see a lot of different details in these pictures. And if we use scientific explanation to explain about this phenomenon, we will probably get a lot of data. We'll get the temperature of the thunder, the speed of the thunder, maybe the reason behind why lighting actually happened, the air moving around. But there's another part to this phenomenon, which is our personal feelings. If a person see a thunderstorm, that he'll probably get the feelings of being scared or afraid or even wonder and awe. But all these feelings that scientific explanation will not be able to answer the question of why these feelings are there. Where did this feeling come from? So what we have to understand is that scientific explanation are providing full explanation in some aspect of the factual inquiries, but not all the aspect of the factual inquiries. Because when we actually think about feelings, they are our experiences, and our experiences are fact. So we use also another explanation from Richard Weinberg in his book, The Existence of God, Richard Weinberg talk about this. There's certain amount of indeterminism in the nature. There are physical possibility between 1 and 0. When probabilistic generalization are concerned with this, these are probabilistic law. And physics and also some other science, they are discount law. So clearly, explanation that involve probabilistic law is only partial explanation because there's always something being unexplained. So when I actually think about that, even if we think a little bit further, that what science is actually based on, they're based on fundamental laws. But at the very end, that there's a limitation in the scientific explanation. They cannot explain why there's something rather than nothing. So what I want to say that is not to undermine the significant contribution what science can actually bring to our world, but it's to say that the full explanation in some aspect of the factual inquiries is only the partial explanation of all the aspects in the factual inquiries. And like with all these three reasons I just provided, I would probably say that the independent model is not the best approach to describe the relationship between science and religion. But now the final question is that which of the four models would be the best approach to handle the relationship between science and religion? Because of the time that I will not be able to go into further details on this, but I am suggesting a vetting system called PCT, which I call PCT, the process of criteria testing. And in it, there's two criteria. First is to provide full explanation to different inquiries that we encounter. And the second is to provide the true peace and harmony between science and religion. So if we're able to apply this vetting system into the four models, then maybe we can find out the answer of which of the model can truly bring science and religions forward and also to motivate the relationship forward. And that will be the end of my sharing today. Thank you, everyone.